Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the series. If you haven't already watched part 1, go ahead and check it out. Over here I use L'Oreal Natural Ash Blonde in 9.1, then I go with Natural Dark Blonde, and then I go in with the Poundland Brown for the roots, and then Superdrug's own brand Ash Blonde for around the hair. Okay, pause. Before we move on, you have to know there are going to be a few disclaimers. Disclaimer number 1. I am not a professional, so please take it easy on me. Disclaimer number 2. My wig head is jaggedy jag, and she has been through a lot, so please be nice to her. Okay, so it's gonna go straight into it. I get the L'Oreal 9.1. I'm pouring the contents of the box inside the developer. And then what I like to do next is really shake it up and mix it up really well. You don't want to have any lumps or anything. Then I get my plastic bowl and I like to pour half of the contents into that before I go on to the L'Oreal number 7 and repeat the same process. Shake it really well and then go ahead and just pour straight into the bowl. And what this does is it mixes the two colours well and acts as a really nice transition colour. So to begin the process, I like to first start from the back. I use the mixture, which is the transition shade first, and then distribute it throughout the hair. I then get one of the bottles. There's no routine to this. I just mix and match the bottles. I don't remember which one I used first, which one I didn't. It was completely freehand and there was no logic to it. It was just go in with whatever you can find and then just mix it up. So I grab one of the bottles, then go in with one of the transition shades, and then grab one of the other bottles and do that throughout the whole head of hair. So after I did all of that, the hair came out pretty dark, a bit too grey for me actually, and it was very patchy. I had run out of hair dye, so I was really on my last legs. So the next day I went out to go and grab this hair dye, which is in the Natural Light Baby Ash Blonde with the Superdrug brand, and then I just distributed that throughout the hair. I focused mainly on the parts that were quite patchy and the parts that really showed too much blonde, and then I went in to prepare my closure. As you can see me doing here, so I can avoid getting dye in the closure, I sprayed it with Got To Be, but to be honest, it really didn't do anything. It was quite rubbish and I still stained my closure, which is sad. So what you can see me doing here is just going directly onto the hair with the lightest baby ash blonde and just filling in all those gaps as I had said earlier. Okay, so here's my favourite part actually. I am going on to use the brown hair dye, which I got from Poundland, to focus on the roots. So I just pour in the contents of the box once again and do the whole shaking up thing, and then pour it into a bowl this time as well, just so that I can focus mainly on the roots and try my best to avoid getting on my closure. So as you can see here close up, I'm only putting it on for about, it's like even 1 centimeter, maybe even less of the roots, because I want to focus on just mainly getting the top, and later on you'll be able to see how I kind of work my way around that. I repeat this step throughout the whole of the closure, kind of just focusing again mainly on the real tips of the roots and just going all the way through. Now this is where I get that really cool gradient effect. You do not want to have that line of demarcation that makes it look like you've definitely done the hair yourself. So what I like to do is grab the comb and put a bit of hair dye, the brown hair dye, onto the comb, and then start from the roots and then comb my way down. I don't go all the way down at this point, but I focus again mainly on the roots. Later on, I decided that I wanted to put some brown highlights throughout the hair. I kind of didn't want this whole one-dimensional look. I wanted it to look as if it had highlights and it had lowlights. So I just combed my way through the rest of the hair, especially on the top layer where you would see the most, and then distributed it around, trying a sort of balayage method. I don't know, but it works for me anyway. So next, after about 20 minutes of leaving the hair dye in, I rinsed it out completely, and I just tried to get most of the hair dye out without ruining the actual hair itself. So I go in with my purple hair dye, which is perfect for blondes, just to get rid of any brassiness, but to be honest there really wasn't any brassiness because the hair was actually yellow to begin with. So it just kind of made it seem a bit more of a cooler blonde, and I really liked it like that in the end. So then I just rinsed it all out, got all the suds out and everything, and then went in with some conditioner. So after waiting about 15 minutes for my hair to really soak in the conditioner, I rinsed it all out. And to be honest, I'm glad that I was able to get this colour. It was perfect for me. I loved it. And it's really hard to find Wella in the UK, so finding alternatives in the UK is amazing. But here you go, you can see the final look of how it looked. And if you want to see how I customise my hair on a daily basis, just wait and hold on for part 3, which should be coming up next. Thank you for watching. Ciao.